with a queasy feeling. You shoulder your backpack again, leave the warm carriage, and are immediately led by 2 other guards through a double door into a large hall. So anyways, here is the entrance hall that mentioned last time coming in through. You look around in amazement. Everything in this room seems perfectly arranged. The almost crystalline decorations look like ice crystals picked outside in the cold. The guards leave the hall, so you remain alone. Silence returns, but this time it is absolute. No whistling winds, no rattling of carriage wheels. Just as the silence seems to become oppressive, you hear approaching footsteps. From a corridor to your right, a familiar figure emerges from the shadows. Ah, my dear Kyle. With slow but steady steps, he continues to approach you until he comes to a stop just an arm's length in front of you. I see you brought some pretty harsh weather with you. Is that your way of thanking me for inviting you? He chuckles amusedly and walks briskly past you. It's already late, and you've probably already thought about where you're going to spend the night. Surprised, you listen and then hurry after him with quick steps. The resounding splash of your shoes on the bare stone floor echoes ghostly from the bleak walls. The overall atmosphere gives you chills, unsure if it's due to the actual coldness or the feeling of loneliness. After all, you're on your own in enemy territory. Well, since there is no lack of space here, I've had one of the guest rooms prepared for you. During the night, a guard will be posted at the end of the corridor, whom you may harass with questions and requests. Again, a chuckle escapes him as he continues down the corridor. Alright, let's see what we get for this. Alright, who else lives here besides you? Dottore slows his steps, tilts his head back, and contemplates the high stone ceiling. Live here? Huh, good question. This place is one of the many where another harbinger resides from time to time. Who are you speaking of? The one who had this place built. One requires a mora for this, and as far as I am aware, there's only one among us harbingers who is eligible for this. Therefore, if there is any reason to complain about your accommodation, please bother Pantalone with it. Yeah, we're gonna bother Pantalone about it, okay. You are somewhat surprised that the high-ranking harbinger himself gives you a guided tour through the almost endlessly long corridors. That's exactly what gives you pause for thought. What are his motives? Pure curiosity? Or does he know more than he lets on? He stops in front of an inconspicuous yet discreetly decorated wooden door. With a nod, he tells you to open it. Wordlessly, you follow his instruction and enter the room behind it. Cold air hits you, and yet this room seems more inviting than your last accommodation in the city. Dottore is still standing at the doorstep. He is obviously reluctant to enter. You notice that Dottore does not set foot in the room, and you begin to wonder what may be going through his mind. Is it vanity? Or does he care about privacy? You quickly shake the thoughts away. Judging from what you know so far, neither reason fits. Is it a game? Did he want you to notice his hesitation? Did he want you to think he cares about privacy? Did he want you to start pondering his thoughts? Your gaze seems to have revealed your wandering mind. At least Dottore notices your thoughtful scowl. Now that everything is settled so far, let me add a few important things for you to know. Dinner will be brought to your room in half an hour. Tomorrow we will meet again. A smirk creeps onto his lips. I am curious to hear what news there is to report from Sumeru and the Academia. I remember the first time I got that line, I was freaking terrified, because I'm sitting here like, oh god, he knows? But no, that's part of the, fake persona we have, that, yeah, we were expelled from the Academia and joined the Fatui after that. I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. But yeah, I'm just sitting here like, oh no. We messed up, and no, we did not. Then he turns away from you, closes the door, and leaves you to your own devices again. The soft ticking of a clock is the only sound heard. With quiet steps, you wander through the room. With your fingertips, you gently brush the cover of the bedspread. The fabric seems warm and yet soft at the same time. Definitely not of the same quality as the covers at the inn. You let your gaze wander along the narrow windows. There is nothing to see outside except white snow, but you notice that the window frames are so slender that you could not squeeze through them even with effort. Suddenly you realize that Dottore did not choose this room by mere accident. Yeah, especially with this line. Yeah, I was rightfully terrified. For my safety. You still have some time before dinner, which you can put to good use. Alright, so let's see what we're gonna do. We are going to inspect the room more closely. You continue to look around with a discerning eye. The closet is made of solid wood with small ornaments carved into it. You find nothing in the wardrobe itself, nor under the bed. Then your gaze lingers on the large wall mirror. You didn't notice it at first, but the longer you look, the stronger the feeling that something is wrong with it. On tiptoe, as if you are afraid someone might hear you, you approach the mirrored glass pane. With both hands, you sweep along the frame and finally try to push it a little to the side. The mirror doesn't move a bit, as if it had been firmly mounted on the wall. Hesitantly, you raise one hand and gently knock against it with your knuckles. A hollow, echoing sound is heard, and you immediately realize that there is a hollow space behind this mirror. A little startled, you flinch, and are even more startled when there is a loud knock at the door. However, the door remains closed, so you take a look at the corridor behind it yourself. To your surprise, you find a small tray with a more or less warm meal at your feet. Your stomach is already growling, so you pick up the tray and carry it to your room. At the sight of the dinner, a strange thought overcomes you. What if it is spiked? Cautiously, you take a quick breath, but you can't find anything unusual. It is reasonable to be suspicious in this situation, especially considering, 1, the windows are too thin to be able to get out, and 2, we just discovered the mirror. Of course we have a reason to be a bit suspicious. But after some thought, you realize that for the time being, you will have to live and eat here for an undetermined period of time. Whether you eat this potentially poisoned meal or the next morning makes no difference. Soon night falls, so you wait for a guard or someone like that to come by and tell you to stay in your room now, but no one shows up. The door is still open and can only be locked with the key that is on your side. You know that it wouldn't make a very trusting impression if Dottore or a guard were to see you sneaking around in the castle at night. On the other hand, this would be the ideal opportunity to gather information. Your gaze wanders thoughtfully back and forth between the bed and the door. Alright, let's see what we're doing. We are going to go to bed. Oh, thank God. The next day! The next day dawns a little later and brings the usual cold with it. Still a bit sleepy, you stumble over to the window and take a look out. Just like the day before, everything is white again, but the snowstorm has subsided during the night. Just as you're about to head for the washrooms to freshen up, there's a knock at the door. Good morning. I hope the night was restful. Dottore requests your presence. I will accompany you to the right place when you are ready. You nod as you briefly look down at yourself. The guard also seems to have noticed that you are not ready yet, clears the way to the hallway, and remains standing quietly waiting next to the door. You make your way to the washroom. The corridors of the castle seem a bit more familiar to you by now. Quickly you get ready, fix your clothes and hair, and then return to the guard who is still waiting outside the door to your room. I am ready. Very well, follow me. He leads you through countless corridors, which are very similar in appearance. Finally, he stops in front of a rather sparsely decorated door. He is already awaiting you. The guard steps aside so that you have free access to the door. A little nervousness flares up in you. What would await you? What would happen next? How many more days do you have to spend in this place? You courageously push open the door and enter the room behind it. An eerie-looking hall stretches out in front of you, where you can discover all kinds of devices of which you can only guess what they are used for. Cables and tubes hang down the walls, crisscross the floor, and run to large, glowing blue containers that hold sometimes more, sometimes less large, misshapen things. Some of them are as big as humans, others as small as embryos. A shiver runs down your spine at this sight. Just what you see here with your own eyes should have some value for the sages. Then you spot him. Busily, he rummages among papers on which you can make out rough sketches and illegible notes from your current distance. You take a few steps forward and clear your throat. Good morning. Dottore pauses, turns to you, and begins to grin at the sight of you. The morning is almost over. He lets go of the notes and wanders with slow steps through the room, getting closer to you bit by bit. To be awakened by the weak sun, you often have to wait until noon in this region, if the clouds let any sun rays through at all. A stark contrast to the mornings in Sumeru, as you surely noticed. There it was again, that grin that he knows more than he lets on. Alright, let's see what we're answering. Are you speaking from your own experience? A surprised laugh escapes him as he spreads his arms lavishly. What leads you to suspect this? Instinctively, your gaze wanders to the side. The fact that you have information about his past is something special. No normal member of Fatui would ever get such information. Well, it sounded like you had been there before. His smile quickly disappears, as if he had noticed a slight uncertainty in your voice. Just when the silence seems to become stifling, Dottore gives a jolt and puts on his usual know-it-all smile. Darshan Kasharawar, correct. That brings back memories, doesn't it? Whether he's talking about you or himself, you can't say for sure. Silence follows. The ideal opportunity to ask a question. Okay, so I want to point out something real quick. So there is this mirror in my room that you can answer here. You cannot answer it if you did not inspect the room closer that one time earlier. So this would be like grayed out and you couldn't actually select it. So I'm actually going to just choose it now so that we get it out of the way. So if in a future one I don't end up investigating, that I won't have this completely grayed out and not be able to answer. There is this mirror in my room. Ah, you are very attentive, as expected. He approaches you until he is only an arm's length away. Don't worry. Although there is a room for observation behind the mirror, time is valuable. Therefore, that room is always unoccupied. However, you have my respect for noticing it. Also, you seem to have curiosity as well as a seemingly basic knowledge that is taught in Darshan Kasharawar. That's why you're here. But since you actually seem to be interested in my research... I do want to quickly point out, I do like that, like, with the narration and stuff, like, a lot of the things we notice about, like, architecture and, like, what is in the room and the, like, details like that, I do really enjoy that, because we are from Darshan Kasharawar, as has been said multiple times, which one of its things is, like, architecture. So it's very likely that someone with that kind of knowledge would probably notice things about, like, their surroundings like that a normal person like me wouldn't notice. I wouldn't know, though. I have next to no knowledge of architecture myself. He turns away, runs a hand over the operating table in the middle of the room, and grins knowingly. I have decided that today you will witness a test. Surely you've heard of the delusions, right? You nod a little uncertainly. You can't say for sure which way his statement was meant. As much as I value quiet and concentration in my experiments, it's refreshing to occasionally impress with my skill and knowledge during practice. He wanders through the lab, opens a door you'd barely noticed before, and leads you into the room beyond. A shiver runs down your spine at the sight of the corpse on the operating table. The only thing that calms you and your conscience is the fact that the person is already dead. You step closer, your gaze fixed on the deceased body. Dottore is standing slanted behind you and has obviously noticed your fascinated gaze. Exciting, isn't it? With a short gesture, he orders you to step back from the table. Watch carefully. With one hand, he reaches for a clean scalpel lying on the small table next to him. The bright metal flashes briefly in the cold light of the lamp. Then he places the sharp blade on the corpse's rib cage. Watching him dissect the body stirs a strange fascination in you. No matter how hard you try to avert your gaze, you cannot. And it should not remain with just this one corpse. Countless others follow. You watch each and every one of those. The days pass, and with each new morning, another body lies on the now familiar surgical table. Cut by cut, organ by organ, you begin to learn through watching. You're almost frightened by the fact that you follow Dottore's every movement, no matter how small, as he dissects with excitement. Every cut, no matter what the tool, was a testament to his skill and knowledge. It was only a few weeks before you found yourself in your room after another session. The room had become familiar to you. However, you missed your home in Sumeru from time to time. Sumeru. You let the past weeks pass in your mind. The rejection from the academia, the ball, the invitation. And now you are sitting here in your rather luxurious room in a castle in the middle of the ice desert. You lack nothing here. Food, lodging, and, of course, the opportunity to learn. Thoughtfully, you scratch your head. Learning. Wasn't that the reason why you went to academia in the first place? Now you can't help but wonder what your next step should be. You have learned many things. About the delusions, about Dottore himself, and about his views concerning the other harbingers. Old Dottore was able to offer you something here that was not even discussed behind closed doors at the academia. The forbidden knowledge. The knowledge that was related to life and death. The knowledge that offered so much potential, so much fascination. All these past days you have been postponing this decision, but with every passing second it becomes clearer to you that you have to make a choice. Either you stay in the castle, voluntarily, and truly become the Fatui member you pretended to be at the ball, or you continue your mission and gather evidence while waiting for a suitable opportunity to return to Sumeru. Alright, so this will get us, either it will get us an ending, or it will get us to getting an ending. Okay, so we are going to get an ending, so we are going to cancel the mission. This will, because we burned the notes, the next choice I have that actually, seems important, or it might be actually just the next choice, it won't matter which one I choose. Because I burned the notes, we are safe from getting the ending I keep bringing up. The next few days fly by. Day after day, you observe more experiments and learn more by more. Your interest is genuine, and Dottore doesn't overlook that either. Every now and then he asks you questions about the procedures, which you often answer to his satisfaction. In the meantime, you are learning and living in the castle, and with each passing day it becomes more of a home to you. You often still miss Sumeru, but your homesickness is quickly quenched with new and exciting knowledge. Your efforts to absorb, process, and reproduce all the new information do not go unnoticed, neither by Prime nor by his other segments. Whenever you encounter them, they seem less and less hostile. As they become accustomed to your presence, you become used to their presence too. Even your helping hands, in terms of cleaning surgical instruments, seem to be a welcome help to Dottore's younger segment with a strange mask. It's talking about Webtore, I'm pretty sure on that one. After a long, tiring day, you enter your room, exhausted. From the hallway, you say goodbye to Dottore's segment, which had accompanied you up to here. You did a good job today. I had thought your moral code would hinder you, but you seem to be doing well. Amused, he laughs and waves goodbye. Prime is very pleased with your performance as well. Then he disappears and leaves you alone. Thoughtfully, surrounded by silence, you wander up and down the room. You may have canceled your mission, but something still burdens you. The feeling of hiding something from Prime and his segments is giving you sleepless nights. You could gather all your courage and tell Prime about your original mission and your change of heart. Or you could keep your secret. So yeah, okay, this is the choice I was talking about. So, if you had kept the notes, in order to get the ending we are going to get, you have to tell the truth. If you decide to keep it a secret, you are going to get another ending. Again, it's the same one as I said before, the one that you have 3 different ways to do it. This is one of those ways. You get to this point, having kept the notes, and you try to keep it a secret. They don't like that! Anyways, it doesn't matter which one we do. Okay, so we are going to tell the truth. So yeah. The day is over, yet you know you cannot sleep. Instead of getting ready for the night, you leave your room. Tense, you make your way to the place where you find Prime most of the time. Without having to look for him, you find him standing in the middle of the lab. Concentrated, he rummages through a pile of papers. He casually comments on your appearance with a smile. It's getting late. You should go to sleep. I know. Tell me, what keeps you awake at this late hour? He puts the notes aside and turns to you. You now find his presence soothing rather than threatening, as you did just a few weeks ago. We need to talk. Oh? Amused, he chuckles and leans relaxed against the table. You don't quite know how to start. Back then, at the ball, the thing about La Senora, Dottore puts his hand to your chin and gently caresses your cheek with his thumb. What's troubling my best scholar, huh? Is there something you've kept from me? His words make it all the more difficult for you to tell the truth. How would he react? With understanding? Or in a completely different way? My original reason for going to the ball was not because I was invited as a Vitui member. He nods, still smiling, so you begin to wonder how much he actually knows. In the meantime, I decided to stay here voluntarily, but at the beginning... Have you been searching for me or on the orders of the Academia? Your breath is taken away. Open-mouthed, you stare at the masked man. He chuckles amusedly. Your confession does not seem to surprise him. My dear Kayal, do you really think I don't know about this by now? You've spent quite some time here. Time that I have used to have your story checked. Now he puts his second hand on your cheek. Even though he already knew the truth, you were relieved. What would you have done if I had never told you the truth? I'm sure you can guess. Believe me, you made the right decision. He gently brushes your cheeks and gives you a little pat. Funnily enough, if you didn't keep those notes, nothing would have been said about it. Even though he probably knows, it's like, we're not gonna do anything about it, I guess. Do you think you can go to sleep now? Or do you want to stay a while longer? You nod gently as he takes a little distance from you. A soft smile spreads across your lips. There is still much to learn. Amused, Dottore chuckles, puts a hand on your back, and leads you into the well-known room next door, where an untouched corpse awaits its autopsy. There is still much you can learn from me. Anyways, that is our next ending. Apprentice. That is 7. Ending 7, Apprentice. Obtained upon become Dottore's apprentice. So basically, you don't get caught at the ball. You end up not getting caught spying. And you decide to cancel the mission. And if you have not kept the notes, you can either choose to tell him or not. If you kept the notes, you have to tell him. Or otherwise, you will get a different ending. I'm looking at you. Ending number 8. So yeah, next time, I will probably finally go around to getting that ending. Because I now have... We've at this point have access to at least 2 of the ways? Wait, no, the third one takes a lot longer. Never mind. We'll wait on that. My mistake. I forgot the third way. I'm like, wait. What's the other one? It's like, oh yeah, right. We still have to get a bit more stuff before we get that one, but when we get to that point... The next episode, then, will end up being the one where I show all the ways to get this one ending. Anyways, that's it for now. We'll probably do the same thing again, where I just let the dice kind of decide from a certain point what I want to get, because obviously we still have 7 other endings to get. Yeah, we're gonna have a bit of time to be able to do that. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Until next time.